The life of a football fan is marked with highs and lows, but there are few highs that can rival today, the first day of the college football season, where optimism is served up at every tailgate. Savor the flavor. The season is here, and the Huskers kick it off in Lincoln next.
Hang around the Midwest long enough, and you'll hear just about everyone say, I love fall. In the fall, the students and professors return to campus as reliably as the swallows to Capistrano. The year starts anew, where we live, what brings us together with more force, energy, passion, and in bigger numbers than anything else is football. College football. Big Ten football. And so it begins this week, when Big Ten stadiums fill once again, and the crowd believes there's something special in the air. The perfect setting for the perfect game. Unlike every other sport, college football permits you no practice games to get ready. Your season starts on day one. Every game matters, and they start this week.
Over 90,000 Scarlet and Cream fans have been waiting for the day they open the doors to Memorial Stadium for the college football season. BTN Football is presented by John Deere. And today we kick off the season in Lincoln as the Nebraska Cornhuskers take on the Florida Atlantic Owls. Good afternoon, everybody. Alongside Eric Crouch, I'm Kevin Kugler. It is great to have you with us in Lincoln. Husker fans anxious to see what this version of the Huskers has in store. But Bo Pelini very optimistic, Eric, about his 7th Husker team.
He certainly was, and we had a great opportunity to talk with him yesterday about his frustrations last year at this time. And he's feeling very good now about where the defense is. They've really found how to be successful. They worked hard in the offseason. When it comes to offense, he's excited to see this offense in form.
You can see the Huskers getting ready to take the field. The tunnel walk is underway in Lincoln, Nebraska. There's been a lot of talk locally about changes to the Nebraska tunnel walk. The music has not changed. It has stayed the same. The debate will rage on as to the big differences in this one. But the Huskers making their way out, touching the lucky horseshoe, and getting ready to start the 2014 season. Husker fans lining the road to the field, and I know, Eric, as someone who did this is a highlight.
It is, and it looks like it's the same. The crowd goes wild. Players are really energized right now. The hair on your back's got to be standing up if you're a football player. It is for fans, I know that.
Bo Pelini's troops are ready to go, and we're ready for football officially now in Lincoln. Let's talk about the Auto Owners Insurance impact players first when the Huskers have the ball.
Well, Amir Abdullah is a no-brainer. Senior running back, led the Big Ten last year in rushing. Very explosive player. He'll get the ball a lot. Tommy Armstrong, another player on this team who is going to have to prove himself, make better decisions this year. They're going to go against Brandon Bryant, the defensive tackle, who is going to be playing with a lot of emotion today, being that he is from Omaha, Nebraska.
Brandon Bryant's grandfather, a Nebraska Hall of Famer. On the other side, when the Owls have the ball on offense, keep an eye on their quarterback.
Absolutely. Jaquez Johnson, he's that dual threat quarterback, 225 pounds, so very hard and difficult to bring down. Watching tape, a very decisive runner. William Dukes, the receiver, 6'4". He's a big target. Look for him to go down the field and look for a big threat in the passing game. He'll challenge Randy Gregory on Nebraska's defensive side of the ball. The speed, being very instinctive and energetic, those are the things you got to watch out when you're faced against Randy Gregory on defense.
Big Ten's leader in sacks, looking for another huge season for the Huskers. Let's check out this afternoon's Napa Know-How keys to victory for the Huskers.
There's no doubt about it. This defensive line has to control the game. Randy Gregory, Malik Collins, the big boy, Vincent Valentine. They have to put pressure on the quarterback and do a great job of stopping the run. That is where it's going to start. When it comes to keys to the game for offense, this offense with Tommy Armstrong has got to find some rhythm early. They've got to get the ball to their playmakers. Amir Abdullah, he's got a guy with speed, so get him to the outside. He's a powerful guy too, so up the middle is a good idea. So look for their offense to catch rhythm to really have a great start to this game.
Head coaches getting ready, fans getting ready here in Lincoln for the start of the college football season. Two coaches that have matched up before, but not in these positions. Charlie Partridge is in his first game as a college head coach, former assistant at Wisconsin. Of course, Bo Pelini getting set to start his 7th season at the helm of the Huskers. And a beautiful day for football to kick off 2014 at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. It was foggy this morning, but the fog has lifted, and now sunny skies, 81 degrees, a south breeze at 4 miles per hour, and it's going to stay sunny throughout the afternoon. A perfect day for football, and we are ready to get this one started in Lincoln. It is great to have you with us this afternoon for the start of the 2014 season. Amir Abdullah in a final reflective moment as the Huskers are going to have the football to start things off. Kenny Bell back to return for Nebraska.
I think with a young offense, you definitely want to have your offense take the field first and set the tone for this football game.
Alonzo Moore back as well for Nebraska. Ready to go. There's an electricity in Lincoln today, and we've talked about how Nebraska fans have been a little bit nervous, maybe anxious is the better word, for the start of this season. But we saw a very confident head coach yesterday who is very, very excited about what his team can do.
Right. I think that confidence comes from feeling a little bit better defensively. And then I think the offensive line, I think he's very happy about with where they're at as well. And, you know, he's excited because this is a chance for them to go out and prove that they really have become a better football team all the way around.
We're underway in 2014. And a yard deep, Alonzo Moore is going to bring it out. And Moore trying to make the cut, slips down just shy of the 15-yard line. Mark Morrow there to cover him up as Tommy Armstrong, 7-1 last year as a starting quarterback, makes his way out onto the field. 9 passing touchdowns in 2013, the 3rd most among Big Ten freshmen. And when he got into the red zone last year, he was outstanding. 8 for 12, 5 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Huskers would be very happy to see him test those numbers often today in the red zone. He's working behind a retooled, rebuilt offensive line. Gibbons Price starting at right tackle. Zach Sterup, the injured player who would normally start there, as Amir Abdullah takes it to the 21-yard line. A 7-yard pickup. Damian Parms on the tackle.
Well, this is exactly what they wanted to do, get Abdullah the ball first and take a little bit of that pressure off Tommy Armstrong here. He is a young quarterback as a sophomore. Let Amir do the work and get this offense off the right foot.
On 2nd down. Armstrong on the keep, and Tommy Armstrong out for the 23-yard line. Andre Kirk, one of the captains of this Owls defense there to make the stop. Not a lot of history between these two programs. Certainly on the field, very little history. Only one time, 2009, Nebraska won 49-3 on September 5th, 5 years ago. Florida Atlantic, a relatively new program. Abdullah down shy of the 25, but should have enough for the first down, and Nebraska will move the chains.
Looked like a little bit that Tommy Armstrong thought maybe about pulling that football there, and if he would have, he probably would have had a very large play.
As a quarterback making that decision, remind people what you're looking at and what you're keying on as a quarterback to whether you hand off or keep.
Right, where you're either going to leave the defensive end free or that linebacker free, so one of those guys is going to be your read. You're either giving that ball or taking it depending on his action.
Abdullah on first down, just trying to power forward, gets coupled to the 26. Andre Kirk again on the tackle. Kirk last year the defensive MVP for Florida Atlantic. 12th in Conference USA in tackles with 84. He led the team.
This is a little interesting. I kind of like how they're running the ball up the gut. They're really testing this offensive line right now and seeing if they come out with the energy that they anticipated they were going to come out with.
2nd and 7. The pitch to Abdullah on the edge. And Amir Abdullah with a first down to the 35-yard line. 8-yard pickup for Amir Abdullah. Closing in on 3,000 in his career.
Well, that's exactly what happens here. You run 3 or 4 plays up the middle, and then you take it to the outside. You see the defensive end just kind of crashed early and forced that pitch.
Flag down.
Illegal low block. Offense. 10-yard penalty. First down. Fouls number 74.
Here's the replay. And you see right there, Jake Cotton looks like he just got a little bit too low on that block. And the play was going away from him, so that's why the penalty got called. Now, if he was just ahead of him a little bit, he would have been fine. But the play was away from him, probably got to let him go.
2nd down and 14 now for Nebraska. Newby and Cross, the running backs, in a little bit of motion. Newby flinched and went left. Cross flinched and didn't move.
Offense number 32. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Imani Cross back in the Huskers up 5 more.
Well, this is kind of what happens a lot of times in that first game of the year. You've got the nerves. You're a little bit anxious. Moving a little bit. Blocking below the waist. Some of those penalties can really kill the first drive of the game. And as I talked about, we're looking for rhythm. This is exactly what they didn't want.
Armstrong on the keep. Nice cutback. Breaks a tackle and barrels forward to the 27-yard line. 12-yard pickup for Tommy Armstrong. Sherrod Neesman on the tackle for Florida Atlantic.
This is a nice call right now, too. You got a great block. Looks like they're from Imani. And then a great move, too. And then, you know, Tommy Armstrong's a big guy. He's strong. He looks great in his pads, too. He's tough to bring down. He may not be a 4-3 or a 4-2 guy, but he's going to be a quarterback that gets you those 5, 6, 7, 8 yards just by how big he is.
3rd down and 7 for Nebraska. Opening possession of the ball game in Lincoln. Aaron it deep for Kenny Bell. Bell's got it inside the 45-yard line of Florida Atlantic, and a first down, Nebraska.
You knew that Kenny Bell was going to enter this offensive scheme at some point. They showed blitz, but pulled out of it. Great recognition by Tommy Armstrong, knowing he had one-on-one coverage. And look at the one-handed catch and the talent Bell possesses. Dijon Smith on the coverage, and it's first down at the 44. Amir Abdullah to the 40. 4-yard pickup. Trayvon Coley on the tackle. One thing that makes Amir such a special back is they try to get him on the outside, and he's a great between the tackles runner, too. I mean, he's stout. He's a little bit shorter, but he's got that forward lean that you love out of a running back that's able to power through defensive linemen and linebackers as well. Amir Abdullah powered down to the turf. Big hit by Andre Kirk. We've called his name several times already, and he has stepped up in his career at Florida Atlantic in big games. Last year against Auburn, a career-high 12 tackles against the Tigers. Well, I did get a chance to watch him on tape, too, and he is patient. But you see right there, didn't use really his patience. He came right in and laid the wood early. 6'2" senior out of Miami. 230-pounder, the captain running the middle in that linebacking core. 3rd and 6 from the 40-yard line. Armstrong with time and a completion to the 30-yard line. 10-yard pickup in front of Damian Parms for Sam Cotton. And the Huskers move the chains again on 3rd down. Well, I think the thing about Tommy Armstrong, he sets his feet and delivers the ball on time. Sometimes he can get himself into trouble with his feet if his feet aren't planted or if he's thrown off of his back foot. A great job right there of just delivering the throw, seeing what's open, making the right read, and getting this offense to continue to run down the field. On 1st down, Cross, big hole for Imani Cross, rumbling into the secondary, and it's 1st and
Christian Milstead, and David Lozandier could save the touchdown.
And Kevin, the reads from a quarterback just don't have to be in the passing game. You see the defensive end came up the field, and Tommy Armstrong read it perfectly, giving it to Amani Cross in the wide open field.
First and goal, Nebraska at the 5-yard line. 2 third-down conversions key on this drive. Nebraska knocking on the door. Armstrong looking for Bell, and he overshot him in the back corner of the end zone. Dijon Smith on the coverage.
Well, I like how he didn't force the throw in there. He was either going to let Kenny Bell catch this one or nobody, and that's a smart throw by a young quarterback. You have an opportunity to score points right now. You're in the red zone. This is where he's been most efficient. And I like that choice right there. I know Bo Pelini likes it as well.
We saw the numbers early. 8 for 12 last year in the red zone. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions for Tommy Armstrong. Now going to run. Tommy Armstrong breaking tackles into the end zone. Touchdown.
Tommy Armstrong really making this one happen. This is a quarterback design run. You see the guard and the tackle pulling. Tommy Armstrong knew he was going to get the ball. He made a decisive effort. He got himself in the end zone. That is a great way to start this offense. First drive of the season. First touchdown goes to Tommy Armstrong. That's got to be a confidence builder for the young quarterback.
Only 2 rushing touchdowns last year for Tommy Armstrong. But the sophomore quarterback able to get the Huskers on the board, calling his own number. Number 4 gives the Huskers their first 7.
Football on BTN is presented by John Deere Gator Utility Vehicles. Own a special edition Midnight Black Gator. Visit your dealer today before they're gone. And brought to you by MFS Investment Management.
334 consecutive sellouts, Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, and the clouds parted to make this sellout a spectacular day. Good start for the home team as well. Up 7-0, and Eric Crouch with the penalties on that drive. Nebraska's offense actually accumulated 106 yards on the drive with the 5-yard touchdown run from Tommy Armstrong.
Well, it's certainly, if you look at it, it could go the other way, and they could ended up punting, but you know, that was a great job of their offense, just kind of coming alive and turning the corner and going through some early adversity with those penalties and driving down the football field. A big play by Kenny Bell and a good throw by Armstrong and him running it in. I mean, this is exactly what Nebraska's offense really wanted to start this football game off. Get a 7-point lead and then get their defense on the field and let them see what they can do.
Mauro Bondi will kick off for Nebraska. Lucky Whitehead back awaiting the return. Whitehead 5 yards deep will take a knee, and the touchback for the Florida Atlantic Owls. If you're looking for the James Madison, Maryland game, go to btn.com/gamefinder right now to see where you can find your game. Now Florida Atlantic's offense out to work against the new-look Nebraska defense. That's not a new look other than the number. Randy Gregory going from 44, paring down to 4. There was a lot of talk this week in our meetings with the coaches about paring things down on offense and defense from a playbook standpoint. Randy Gregory paring down on the jersey.
4 might make him look faster. I don't know.
Jaquez Johnson, the quarterback, on first down. Little misdirection to Whitehead. And Whitehead's going nowhere. Waiting for it was Greg McMullen. And the Huskers were ready. Back to the 22 on the play, a loss of 3. And the quarterback, the junior for Florida Atlantic, is Jaquez Johnson, who has had a very strong start to his Florida Atlantic career. The Conference USA Newcomer of the Year last year, Eric.
Certainly, and when you look at him on tape, I mean, the attributes come alive. I mean, he's a big player. He's got a strong arm. He's got quick feet. He's a decisive runner. And you just can't let the aura of being in this stadium affect him today. He's got to calm himself down and play the game.
Nice throw by Johnson there. Alex De Leon, the tight end, out to the 30-yard line, 5 yards short of the first. David Santos on the tackle for Nebraska. Santos, a guy that Nebraska's defensive coordinator, John Papuchis, said he is one of the most underappreciated guys on this defense. 3rd down and 5 at the 30-yard line. First possession for the Owls. Pressure up the middle. Moore with a first down and more. And he's knocked out of bounds by Nathan Gary at the 45-yard line. 15 yards on 3rd down, and Florida Atlantic has the first.
Well, I like the play call right here. You know, Nebraska's defensive line is just energized coming up the field, and if you call the screen right there, you're going to get them to slow down. That's the reason why the screen gets called.
On 1st down, hurrying it up to the line, and Whitehead picks up 5 to midfield before new nickel Byerson Cockrell along with Corey Cooper there to combine on the stop.
Well, one of the things mentioned in our meeting too was the communication between the secondary, coming up and flying around and making plays, but being in your spot and taking care of your business. But there's a little bit more talking going on that defense right now, and that gave Bo Pelini a lot more confidence coming into this first game.
Plenty of time for Johnson. Play clock still at 10. 2nd down and 5. Johnson calls his own number. Breaks one tackle from Gregory and has the first down at the 43, pushing the pile further down to the 42 before Cockrell can stop. And you talked about being a big, powerful runner. You saw a little of that power at the end of this run.
Yeah, you certainly did, but some pretty good blocking up front and maybe a little missed tackles. But if you look at the way he just leans forward with his momentum and the size of him, 3-4 yard gain right there at the end of the run.
Ryan Wright's the offensive coordinator for Charlie Partridge. He was the interim coach last year after Carl Pelini was removed. Here's Greg Hankerson in now at quarterback. Hankerson will throw to Johnson, and Johnson going nowhere. Zaire Anderson the first to get there. Josh Banderas finished it off. No gain on the play.
Well, I'm not sure if that shift really did much there in the Nebraska defense. They were looking at maybe where to line up. But it looks like they were looking for a double pass of some sort in the outside just to get a quick hit, but Nebraska's defense there to contain.
John Papuchis, Nebraska's defensive coordinator. Going to get a stop out of his troops here. 2nd and 10 from the 42. Quick screen for Bussey, and Henry Bussey, the freshman, unable to pull it in. 3rd down.
I think Johnson there on that play, just the rush came quick and then they backed off, so they read the play correctly, and if you would have put it on the money, there was a chance for an interception, so he really had to keep that ball outside to keep this drive going.
Bo Pelini looking for a defensive stop. His team leading 7-0. 3rd and 10 at the 42-yard line. 3 receivers to the top of your screen with Johnson on 3rd down. Over the middle, juggled, and it is pulled in right near the line to gain by Alex De Leon. Daniel Davey on the coverage, and they've got the first down, exactly 10 yards.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is where he was going from the very beginning, just trying to get a slant route across the field.
Little stumble on the carry by Tony Moore, and he's going to lose yardage back to the 34-yard line, a loss of 2. Both teams on 3rd down getting the job done on their respective drives. A couple of 3rd down conversions for Nebraska. Key in the touchdown drive. That's the 2nd for Florida Atlantic on this drive. Johnson breaks a tackle. Johnson spitting down to the 20-yard line. 14-yard gain for Jaquez Johnson. Zaire Anderson on the stop.
You can see Johnson right here. Like I said, taking that first step and just busting upfield.
Quick pass out to Whitehead. Whitehead inside the 5 and a touchdown. What an answer for Florida Atlantic as Lucky Whitehead is in for 6.
Well, Nebraska just kind of looming around looking for alignment. And then Whitehead getting the ball, and nice job of keeping that ball in his outside hand as he cut back into the end zone and scoring that touchdown.
A lot of confusion on that Nebraska side. Everybody roaming around trying to get established. Meanwhile, speaking of confusion, there's a player running on late for Florida Atlantic. It is the first game. Extra point despite all of that confusion is good from Greg Joseph, and a timeout on the field. 4:56 to go in the first quarter. These two teams exchanging touchdowns. We're tied at 7. Florida Atlantic and Nebraska knotted at 7. 4:56 remaining in the first quarter. Each team marching down the field on the back of a couple of strong third down conversions to put it in the end zone, and each team's quarterback playing a major role. Jacquez Johnson combining for 80 yards of total offense on the opening drive for Florida Atlantic. 11-play, 75-yard drive for the Owls. Two teams that are 5 for 5 combined on third down, and Lucky Whitehead with the touchdown scored for the Owls. Kenny Bell and Alonzo Moore back deep for Nebraska as they await the kickoff. Sail over Kenny Bell's head as we welcome in the third member of our crew, Damon Benning, who's been keeping an early eye on Tommy Armstrong.
Yeah, guys, you talked about the third down conversions. You saw the execution the first time around for Nebraska on offense. And it shouldn't be a surprise to Nebraska fans. One thing he is very composed. And he's the leader of this offense. Make no mistake about it. We like the prowess of Amir Abdullah, but when it comes to conversions and controlling the huddle, it's Tommy Armstrong and no one else. Some call him Tommy Gunn, some call him Magnum TA. But one thing you better call him on this Saturday afternoon is Tommy Cool.
It's going to have to be. It's a little balmy down there. But Damon's nattily attired in this heat. Tommy Armstrong on first down finds Jordan Westerkamp. Nice move by Westerkamp with a flag flying in. Westerkamp down at the 46-yard line. If it stands, a 21-yard gain. Cravon LeBlanc with the tackle. But everybody's starting to drift back.
Illegal block in the back. Offense number 10. 10-yard penalty. First down.
See that one again, the illegal block against Jamal Turner.
Well, the play was set up nice. Good play action by Tommy Armstrong. And Turner just got, yeah, he did. He got him right on the back of his shoulder. And referee closest didn't see it, but the one that was here on the far hash did.
So it'll be a loss of 3 officially on the play, back to the 22-yard line. 1st and 13. Already 3 penalties charged to the Huskers. Abdullah. Nice little cut on Amir Abdullah to the 33. 9-yard pickup. David Lozandier on the tackle.
The thing I like about Amir Abdullah is you think he's got 5 yards and then he makes a move or he runs you over. He does something special, or you can pick up another 4 or 5 yards. And that's why he's hard to stop. He's got several 100-yard rushing games. He's well on his way to getting that today.
And he's over now 3,000 yards in his Husker career. The 8th player ever over that mark in rushing as Amir Abdullah picking his way forward, adding to that number. Abdullah turning on the Jets. A flag is down as Abdullah's tripped up inside the 20-yard line at the 14. Sherrod Niesman saved the touchdown. The flag is back at the Owl 45.
Holding. Offense number 80. 10-yard penalty.
Greg Blum not making the crowd here happy with that call.
Well, I will say it's still the 4th quarter, so the jitters are still there for a lot of these players, being it's their first game. But Kenny Bell does get part of his jersey, and there's no way that, I don't think he was involved in the play. I don't think it would have made any difference whether he held him or not. So not a good decision by Kenny Bell.
4th Husker penalty in this first quarter. And the Huskers at midfield with a 1st down and 10. Terrell Newby in now to give Amir Abdullah a breather. The sophomore from California had a very good fall for the Huskers. Armstrong looking deep and nobody there. 2nd and 10 for Nebraska. As a quarterback, Eric, when you see a throw like that, who is the coach or the fan to point at and say, well, that's on you, that's on you? Is it on the quarterback? Is it on the wide receiver? Who's it on?
Well, it certainly looked right there that Tommy Armstrong was just trying to maybe avoid a sack, but you got to be careful of throwing it where there's no one at. I mean, you really want to try to complete the pass, and right there he was just probably avoiding the sack, so they may praise him. Might be a good play. 2nd down.
Armstrong, caught by Tariq Allen, picks up 3 to the Owl 47-yard line, and the Huskers will need to convert on another 3rd down as they did in the first drive. There's the sign in the right lower corner. Governor Dave Heineman pictured on the sign. Governor of the state of Nebraska. Waiting for the Eric Crouch sign to be held up.
I don't know if they have one of those.
Armstrong to the sideline. There's Westerkamp, and Westerkamp's got the first down. Sherrod Niesman on the coverage, but Westerkamp moves the chains with a 12-yard gain.
Well, I do like the way that Tommy Armstrong stood back here and threw that ball and put a little bit of air on it, because it put the ball up in Westerkamp's eyes where it made it an easy catch for him. Instead of trying to throw a line drive low at his knees or away from the defender, he put it up where it made an easy catch.
Trio of receivers at the top of your screen, one of which is Amir Abdullah. This is Newby on the carry, and Newby nowhere to go. Damian Parms swarming to the football, brings down the sophomore Terrell Newby.
Oh, just a nice play defensively right there for Florida Atlantic. Kind of waiting to hear Brandon Bryant's name today.
Quiet start for the Nebraska native on the defensive line of Florida Atlantic. Set up the screen to Abdullah. Reading his blocks. Amir Abdullah with a flag down again. Abdullah inside the 10 and down near the 5-yard line. Christian Milstead on the tackle, but the flag back at the 26. And this one's coming back again.
Offense number 56. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Mark Pelini called for the hold.
Well, it's unfortunate. Nebraska really can't get the big play going with the penalties here. They really got to shake this off and just continue to execute their offense. But keep in mind, these penalties right here can really be a drive killer.
They have stymied the Huskers so far. 5 penalties for 50 yards in this first quarter. And it's 2nd and 11 at the 36. Tommy with lots of time. Going deep. He's got Westerkamp. Touchdown!
Well, this is just a great job of Tommy Armstrong being patient, knowing and trusting his offensive line, standing back there in the pocket, finding the safety. He took off, opened the middle of the field, touchdown to Westerkamp.
The Huskers have had 2 possessions. They're well over 200 yards of total offense, having had to overcome 5 penalties, but they've done it on both possessions, and the Huskers have 2 touchdowns on the board. This one, the first touchdown pass of the season, as Tommy Armstrong finds the hero of the Hail Mary for 6. Next Next Saturday, it's another full slate of great regional action. At noon, Rutgers, Wisconsin, and Illinois take the field. Then at 3:30, it's Northwestern taking on Northern Illinois, or Minnesota battling Middle Tennessee. Next Saturday on BTN and BTN to go. Tommy Armstrong, Husker quarterback, 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. Eric Crouch, that's a pretty good percentage.
It sure is, and I think when they talked about paring this offense down, this is a great way to start. Get Tommy Armstrong confident. Give him some good throws, some one-on-one matchups. Give him the ball. Let him get into the rhythm of this game. Let him get feeling good. And right now, there's no doubt in my mind that he's feeling good.
At the goal line, Lucky Whitehead will bring it out. Whitehead with room to run. Lucky Whitehead near the 45-yard line before the Huskers are finally able to knock him out of bounds as we check in for the first time today in Chicago with a studio update.
All right, Kevin, Maryland in its Big Ten debut looking good. C.J. Brown already has 2 rushing touchdowns as the Terps on top of James Madison 14-0 in College Park.
Dave, thank you very much. Here a 14-7 lead for Nebraska with a minute 14 to go in this first quarter. So far, it's been a lot of offense. The 2 teams have combined for 286 total yards in the first quarter. Jaquez Johnson had 80 yards of total offense on his first drive. Johnson on the keep. And he'll get a couple to the 46. Jack Gangwish first to grab him, then Zaire Anderson finished it off. 2-yard pickup.
Looks like Nebraska's throwing a few more things that could be multiple on defense. Look for a little bit of a blitz right there coming from the inside. Nate Gary came up too to fill those run responsibilities and make a good stop.
Trying to sift through the traffic, and he cannot get away from Greg McMullen. Just a 1-yard pickup. 3rd down and 7 for the Owls.
Oh, Greg McMullen not getting fooled here. Beat his guy one-on-one. Was able to make a great play defensively, and that's what they're looking for right now. They know they've got Randy Gregory out here to make some big plays, but they're really counting on some of these other defenders to come up and come through with some big plays as well.
Malik Collins had some good penetration as well, forcing that run back towards McMullen as we have reached the end of the first quarter here in Lincoln. If you like offense, this has been a quarter that you have enjoyed. Nebraska with a 14-7 lead after 1 quarter in Lincoln. Bo Pelini and the Huskers on the back of a touchdown run and a touchdown pass have the 1 touchdown lead in Lincoln. Second quarter about to get underway. Nebraska by a touchdown alongside Eric Crouch with Damon Benning on the sidelines. I'm Kevin Kugler. 14-7 Huskers and a 3rd down and 7 for Florida Atlantic from their 47-yard line. Johnson under a little bit of late heat has to throw it away. The pressure coming from Greg McMullen. Nobody open downfield. Good coverage by the Huskers, and the punt team will come on for the Owls.
Yeah, it sure was. And nice little pass rush, too. Look at the pressure up the middle. Greg McMullen right there working his guy, using his hands to get away and really get in the face of Johnson and force him to make a throw to the outside to avoid an interception.
Now, Kenny Bell, who asked to return punts this year, he has 1 career punt return, no yards gained. That came against Northwestern in 2012. Looking for his second. Perhaps a little more production than the first one here. Dalton Schomp will punt for Florida Atlantic.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
So now Schomp, who averaged 43 yards per punt in his high school career in Seminole, Florida, didn't do a lot of punting last year, only had a PAT attempt against UAB. He will punt to Kenny Bell. And a short punt. Bell at the 23. Not much room for Kenny Bell on that short punt down at the 23-yard line. They'll mark him down there. Timeout on the field. 14-7 Nebraska. Huskers and Owls do have a tie-in, and it's a tie-in through one of the all-time greats at Nebraska, Charles Bryant, whose grandson Brandon plays for Florida Atlantic, 1987 Nebraska Football Hall of Fame inductee, and in 2000, the Omaha World Herald was asking for a top 50 of all-time players. Charles Bryant made that list, one of the top 50 all-time in a Nebraska uniform. And his grandson Brandon playing here today, and what a thrill for him to be back home in front of friends and family playing at Memorial Stadium. Amir Abdullah on first down, bangs down at the 30-yard line, 6-yard pickup. And David Benning, I know you have had a ringside seat to young Mr. Bryant's career from his time at high school all the way here to Florida Atlantic.
Absolutely. Not only am I good friends with his father, Robbie, used to work with him, but Brandon, as you know, an Omaha North alum. And it'd be interesting if we could pick his brain a little bit to see how many conversations Brandon had with Coach Bryant about wanting him to play D-line in high school, but Brandon had fixations of kind of wanting to be a stand-up linebacker. And I know he comes back and he jokes, Coach, if I only would have listened, and about 65 pounds ago, I've been right there with you.
David, thank you very much. First down run for Tommy Armstrong. Andre Kirk with the tackle after a 17-yard pickup for Tommy Armstrong, and another first down for Nebraska. Nice option play by Armstrong.
I think the offensive line right there did a great job of really just controlling the defensive line. Backed them up about 3 yards off the ball.
First down and 10. Play action. Armstrong looking deep down for Kenny Bell, and he just missed him on the sideline. Harms and LeBlanc were stride for stride with Kenny Bell, who just got a hair of separation late.
Right. I think this is one of those plays that gets called because maybe Kenny Bell comes to the sideline and says, hey, I can beat my guy. You know, so they get together, they throw a play action pass, and Tommy Armstrong put a nice ball right there for him, but maybe the sun had a little effect on that, or just one step away from making that catch.
Second down and 10 from the 46. Back to the ground for Amir Abdullah. Cuts to the outside. Amir Abdullah with a first down into Owl territory at the 39-yard line. A 15-yard run for Amir Abdullah. Damian Farms on the tackle.
Now, one of the things I like about Amir is that first step of explosion right there to the outside, that in and out move, and then protecting the football. Both arms around it as he's going to the ground. Great job of protecting the football and making a big-time cut.
Westerkamp and Turner, the three receivers at the top. Abdullah with a hole. Breaks the tackle. And Amir Abdullah with another first down. Give him 12 more. Christian Milstead on the tackle. And Amir Abdullah closing in on 100 yards in this first half.
Sure is. That offensive line, a young offensive line with not a ton of experience. Here getting some game experience, has got to be confident about the way that they're performing.
Abdullah gets a breather. Imani Cross in now. That is certainly not a breather for the Florida Atlantic defense. All kinds of time, and the pass incomplete. Alonzo Moore, the intended receiver. Dijon Smith out there on the coverage.
Well, here's one of those plays for Tommy Armstrong where he could have got his left shoulder around just a little bit more on the accuracy of that throw. Had a tendency to just get a little bit lazy with his feet. Went through the progression to make that throw outside.
Play clock winding down to 10. Armstrong looking over the middle for more, and it's incomplete. Smith again on the coverage, and it's third down.
I think Tommy Armstrong probably wants this one back. I think he had Ethan Carter open on his first read. once he come off it, you got to go 2 and 3. Just bring it down a little bit. Would have had a touchdown.
3rd down and 10 for the Huskers. Armstrong to the sideline, incomplete. Kenny Bell, the intended receiver, with Cravon LeBlanc on the coverage. 4th down, and now Nebraska will try a field goal for the first time this season, and freshman Drew Brown, whose brother Chris, still 2nd all-time in points at Nebraska. And Drew Brown, the true freshman from Southlake, Texas, will try to get his career started. A nice test. 45-yard try from right in the middle of the field. The kick by Brown, curving right down the middle. And something about a Brown and kicking at Nebraska usually means points. Drew Brown puts his first 3 of his Husker career on the board. A 45-yarder makes it 17-7 Nebraska. Nebraska with a 17-7 lead, 12-18 remaining first half here in Lincoln. These two programs don't have a lot in common. Certainly not history. As we were talking earlier this week, Eric, with head coach Charlie Partridge, he said they've got about a 111-year lead on us.
Yeah, they sure do. You know, he was pretty candid about that, having fun with it. But again, told his team too when he came into Lincoln to not really get carried away with the atmosphere of the place. It's going to be there, but make sure that we focus on this game. And I think the last series for their defense was a success to them and not letting Nebraska get in the end zone.
They'll be in another tough place next week. I've heard Alabama's a pretty tough place to play. That's where Florida Atlantic goes after this one. The knee taken for the touchback by Lucky Whitehead. Let's check in with Damon Benning. And Damon, we've been wondering where number 4 is on the defensive side.
Yeah, and it'll still be a mystery. He'll walk the sidelines. He's got his helmet kind of cocked back, then it was on. Not very active in the huddles. Coach Pelini brought, maybe the top 17, 18 guys over to talk. Randy Gregory stayed back. But the interesting thing, guys, is early on in that first drive, there was a lot of head tapping. The coaches didn't acknowledge him wanting to come out. He came out for 2 plays, then they sent him back out, still along that first drive, and we haven't seen him since, guys.
We'll keep our eyes and ears open for more news on Randy Gregory. That would be certainly a player Nebraska could ill afford to lose for any amount of time. Johnson on first down, pressured again, and the pass incomplete. Josh Mitchell flying in, trying to maybe steal an interception as Johnson threw that one away, and it's 2nd down.
Well, Johnson getting flushed out of the pocket, and it was great coverage by Nebraska's defense. Even before the snap, they started creeping up, getting a little bit tighter and closer. So I think their confidence is building a little bit in which type of multiple formations or different types of looks they can give right now to Florida Atlantic's offense.
2nd down and 10 for Florida Atlantic. Nebraska getting some good push up front these last 2 series. Trying to find some running room up the middle are the Owls, and Jay Warren gets a couple to the 27-yard line. Well, there's Randy Gregory, Nebraska's staff working with the Big Ten sack leader a year ago. That's not where Nebraska wants to see Randy Gregory, sitting on the bench.
Oh, we really didn't see him limp off the field or anything out of the ordinary, so still does remain a mystery.
Third down and 8. Pressure coming. Johnson hit as he throws, and the pass incomplete. Here comes a flag. Mitchell and Moyse got tangled up at the 40-yard line, and they're going to call a hold against the Huskers.
Prior to the pass, holding defense number 5. 10-yard penalty, includes automatic first down.
6th penalty for 60 yards against the Huskers.
We take a look down here at the bottom of the screen. Number 5, Josh Mitchell, just got a little bit excited. Knew that he was going to get one-on-one coverage. He had a blitz dialed up. You just got to keep your hands off him. Trust that defensive line, and that blitz is going to make the quarterback throw a bad ball.
Andy Gregory still being tended to on the Husker sideline. Running room for Warren. Warren with a first down into Nebraska territory at the 49. A 14-yard run. Byerson Cockrell kept it from being more.
Jay Warren doing a nice job here, just cutting to the outside and seeing the open hole. Picking up a first down for him. Haven't seen much from the running game since that first drive, and this might be the pep that they needed.
Warren had 340 yards last year as a freshman, including a 105-yard day against Southern Miss. That was his high. Warren again. Warren down to the 44. He picks up 5 on first down. Zaire Anderson on the tackle.
Well, that's a nice pickup right there. 5 yards on first down. Pretty much opens up the playbook for any type of offensive call you want. You come 2nd and 5, and when you're up against a team that's pretty balanced, 50 pass, 50 throw, and you got a quarterback like Johnson behind center, pretty much keeps you on your toes about what they're going to come do.
2nd and 5 at the 44. Johnson complete. I don't know how he fed that in there in front of Banderas, who was right there on the hip of his target, Lucky Whitehead. He was able to sneak it in there, and it's 3rd and 3.
That was one of those option routes where, you try to tee up that linebacker. If he's inside and you break out, if he's outside, then you hook it up and stay inside, and you did thread the needle right there.
3rd down and 3. Florida Atlantic is 2 for 3 on 3rd down today. Maybe a quarterback draw. They'll go up the middle. It'll be Warren and Santos there to make the stop right near the first down marker. And it is a first down for Florida Atlantic at the 39.
See, Nebraska's line looked like they kind of slanted there to the field. And all 3 of those defenders missed him, which kind of allowed him to pick up about 3 yards. Secondary had to make that stop. Josh Mitchell getting involved.
Third down conversion in this first half for the Owls. And a timeout taken by Jaquez Johnson. 17-7 Nebraska, but Florida Atlantic not at all daunted by the task here in Lincoln. Huskers leading 17-7, but Florida Atlantic marching once again at the Husker 39-yard line with a first down. Kevin Kugler, Eric Crouch, Damon Benning with you on the field today here in Lincoln to start off the 2014 college football season. Good run for Warren as he takes it close to another first down. He's got it at the 28. David Santos on the tackle. An 11-yard gain on the play.
Well, I'll tell you, if David Santos doesn't make this play, they've got themselves a touchdown. So it's a nice open field tackle right there by number 41.
First down and 10 at the 28. A bit of nervousness in the crowd here early. Pressure coming. Johnson gets rid of it. It's got a man open, and it's incomplete. Cockrell got over there, and the underthrown ball hit Cockrell as he was trying to find Derek Moyce on the throw.
It's a good recognition right there by Johnson of seeing the blitz on the outside, getting rid of that throw and taking a hit, standing in there, but throwing off your back foot is always going to be a weak ball. You need to put a little bit more on it. There's Nate Gary, who's the safety, who came up on the line, tried to rush Johnson.
Second down and 10 at the 28. Blitz up the middle. They set up for the screen and no chance to find the running back, Jay Warren. Now 3rd down and 10. Banderas and Zaire Anderson were coming hot and heavy right through the middle of that offensive line.
I think that's one of the things that John Papuchis, Bo Pelini want to see on defense. How's that middle linebacker play going to hold up? Josh Banderas doing a great job. And big guy got a little playing time last year. Looking to see them linebackers make some plays.
3rd down and 10 at the 28-yard line. And a timeout taken by Florida Atlantic. Second timeout used by the Owls. 8:19 to play in this first half. 17-7 Nebraska. 17-7 Nebraska with the lead over Florida Atlantic. 8:19 remaining in the first half. Kevin Kugler, Eric Crouch, Damon Benning from Lincoln, Nebraska. And the big 3rd down and 10 coming up for the Owls, and they'll be doing it still without Randy Gregory on the field. There's Randy Gregory standing up now, but look at that knee. Not what Husker fans want to see.
I think it was a great time for a timeout. It really was. Just get your team on the sideline. Hey, they got an opportunity to score some points. So let's make a smart decision with the football here. I think that was the message.
3rd down and 10 at the 28. Johnson looking for the end zone, and that ball is going to be incomplete. Trying to find William Dukes, Daniel Davey out there on the coverage for the Huskers.
Oh, good pressure right there from the defensive front of Nebraska. Forcing Johnson out of the pocket and making a bad throw to the outside. Really messes up the timing of the quarterback and his receiver. You could tell right there that timing was off. He was probably looking for him to come across the middle of the field and had to readjust his route. Receiver maybe could have helped him if he came back to the ball a little bit, but again, too much pressure from the Nebraska defense.
So now Greg Joseph will try a 45-yard field goal. Joseph, the former soccer player, aiming for those goalposts, but he misses it wide to the right. Greg Joseph cannot connect from 45. The Huskers hold the Owls scoreless on that possession and still lead by 10. 17-7 Nebraska, 8:07 remaining in this first half. Tommy Armstrong and the Husker offense going back to work. Starting from their own 28-yard line after the missed field goal by Florida Atlantic. Amir Abdullah, who's close to a 100-yard day, back in the lineup now. Armstrong with the pitch. Nice catch by Amir Abdullah. Boy, that was a terrific catch by Abdullah, and he gains 5 yards. Robert Relf on the tackle. What a grab by the I-back.
Yeah, it sure was. And credit Tommy Armstrong at the beginning of the play for checking into this. This is something that he saw. And you got a young sophomore quarterback who's able to change the play at the line of scrimmage. Those are things that build confidence. And, of course, Amir Abdullah with his athleticism just making a play to the outside.
2nd and 5 at the 33. Abdullah again to the outside. And Amir Abdullah with a first down and a 10-yard pickup for Amir Abdullah, and he is now over 100 yards on the day. That is his 18th career 100-yard rushing game, as yet again the name of Eric Crouch begins to slide further, further,
down there.
and further.
Just hope it stays on for the end of the game. That's kind of, that's all we care about. No, not at all. But no reason for them to really get away from what they're doing right now, running the ball with Amir.
Here's Westerkamp, roommate to roommate, Armstrong to Westerkamp, and he's close to 10 yards again to the Owl 47-yard line. Alongside Eric Crouch with Damon Benning on the sidelines, Kevin Kugler here in Lincoln, Nebraska, welcoming you to the start of the 2014 college football season. Nebraska with a 17-7 lead midway through this second quarter. Just a picture-perfect day for college football. We will be pining for a day like this, say late November. It is a beautiful day, 81 degrees at kickoff. Abdullah with a giant hole. Great cut. Amir Abdullah into the clear. And Amir Abdullah has a touchdown. ago was the most for any returning back in FBS football. He's trying to get 1,690 in the first half. He's got 157 right now. 24-7, Nebraska with the lead in the season opener for 2014. Now, Nebraska being in front in season openers is nothing new. They had a good lead last year against Wyoming in the season opener, a game you saw here on BTN. However, Wyoming battled back late. Eric and I were here with Damon. We all saw it. Cowboys with a late surge, but the Huskers were able to hang on 37-34. Nebraska rushing for 375 yards in that one. And not a surprise because Nebraska has the longest streak in FBS in season opening wins. They've won 28 in a row. And in the last 5 openers, Eric, they've rushed for at least 229 yards. 216 already today for Nebraska.
It's almost like the traditional Nebraska running game is back.
Whitehead will take the knee. And Amir Abdullah providing the spark in the running game. And Damon, the recipe for success for Amir is as what?
Hey, I tell you what, and he made no bones about it in the offseason. He wanted to be the hardest working man out there, and he wanted to make amends for what people feel is a fumbling problem. He's not afraid to address it. And as you've seen today, when he goes into contact, he's got 2 hands over the ball because he was committing what we like to call hustle fumbles, fighting for yards after extra plays. And guys, with no disrespect to any other running backs in the Big Ten, primarily guys like Melvin Gordon, you're looking at the total package, and without question, the most complete running back in all of Big Ten.
Well, Damon, he's now at 3,134 career yards. That's now 7th place all time. 19 yards from Calvin Jones moving up the Husker list. Johnson in some trouble, and Johnson is dropped behind the line. Zaire Anderson, who's been spending some time in the backfield today, finally gets the quarterback.
Well, Zaire Anderson just using his speed right there and his athleticism, shearing off blockers. I'll tell you what, Johnson's not going to be happy about that one. Right now, you're looking at 4-yard loss.
And Zaire Anderson may have sent Jacquez Johnson to the sidelines because Johnson not feeling good after that one, and they will substitute for Johnson. Greg Hankerson in for the quarterback when we return. Jacquez Johnson being tended to on the sidelines after the hit from Zaire Anderson as he tried to run away, and that means Greg Hankerson, who did make a start last year for Florida Atlantic against Rice, played in 8 games, and we've seen him already today on 1 play. He's back out there now for Johnson. 2nd and 14 back at the 21-yard line. Warren was the motion man out of the backfield. Hankerson finding Whitehead, and Whitehead across the 30 to the 32-yard line. He picks up 11 on 2nd down. And here's what happened. Zaire Anderson and then a host of Huskers just burying Jacquez Johnson.
A lot of time when a quarterback takes a fall, it's right on the edge of that shoulder. Sometimes you're wearing shoulder pads that might be a little bit too small. You come down on that shoulder, and you do feel it.
3rd down and 3 at the 32. 24-7 Nebraska. Hankerson, nobody open, and he throws it incomplete. Terrific coverage, Eric, downfield by Nebraska. There was nowhere for Greg Hankerson to go.
Yeah, there really wasn't. I mean, he looked downfield and couldn't find anybody, scrambled out of the pocket. He's looking downfield at the beginning. Got his eyes forward and then rushing out. Just couldn't get his shoulders squared to make this accurate throw. You do have to credit Nebraska's defense for running stride for stride with the receivers.
Kenny Bell, as they tend to Jacquez Johnson on the Florida Atlantic sideline. Kenny Bell waiting the Dalton Schomp punt. Bell at the 30, bobbles it. Ball still loose to the sideline, and Kenny Bell, playing volleyball player, just ran over and spiked it out of bounds to make sure the Huskers kept it.
Usually he's a sure catch, and when you're running up to catch a ball, that is one of the hardest things to do. Kenny Bell just not looking it in all the way. Really had a good opportunity to get to that ball, but what a smart heads-up play and knocking it out of bounds.
This was certainly an Achilles heel for the Huskers. Punt return game. They've been trying to figure out a way to improve this aspect of their game. Kenny Bell volunteered to be the punt returner, but Bo Pelini told us yesterday there's one thing that's going to get you out of your role, and that's turnovers. No turnover for the Huskers, but trouble there as Newby going to work for Nebraska. Terrell Newby to the 39-yard line, gets 5 before David Lozandier and Trey Hendrickson could make the stop. And the turnover margin the last couple of years has been something that has just absolutely befuddled Nebraska, the worst in the Big Ten.
Certainly is, and winning football games down the stretch, I think that's one of the biggest concerns as you get into Big Ten play and you're starting to have a turnover margin like that. That means you're in a lot of close games. It shouldn't really be close games.
Multiple turnovers in 9 of 13 games. Amir Abdullah with the first down to the 47-yard line. Add 8 more to the total for Amir Abdullah. He's over 160 yards on the afternoon.
We wonder if he's going to be playing here much in the second half, the way he's racking up some yards. And they've got a nice plethora of running backs and Monty Cross and Terrell Newby to get in there and also take some carries.
First down. Armstrong. Pressure comes late, and Armstrong got rid of it just in time. He was hit as he threw by Trey Hendrickson, and it's second down.
Tommy Armstrong just standing in there. A couple pump fakes, though, and probably should have got rid of the ball a little bit sooner. That way avoids taking a hit.
You like what you've seen from him, though, in this first half?
I think they're really calling a good game for him. I think that's the key in this first opener for him, is that he feels comfortable and confident in his game, and he's been completing passes, distributing the ball, and doing a great job so far.
Timeout taken by Nebraska. They've got 1 remaining. 3:48 remaining in the first half. And the Huskers will talk things over before this second down play. Pelini talking with a couple of members of the officiating crew, and our United States Marine Corps leader of the game is Mark Pelini, the nephew of Bo. He's this afternoon's United States Marine Corps leader of the game, a 3.33 GPA, twice academic All Big Ten, double major in history and math, and a guy who's playing a big role this year, taking over after Cole Pensick left the program, graduating. Made just 2 starts a year ago, and now Mark Pelini, the guy that Nebraska will lean on at center, despite being a little bit undersized for your traditional center, 6 foot, 290 pounds.
Yeah, I was not concerned with the center that was too small, as long as he was smart and he blocked the guy in front of him.
Seems to be key.
That's right.
Second down. Armstrong a little high for Amir Abdullah. And if that one's thrown on target, Eric, Amir Abdullah's got some room to run.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think Tommy Armstrong just got a little bit excited. Nobody around Amir. This is one of those where you just want to take a little bit of heat off. You know, he's got a little bit of heat, lets it sail. Just make a nice, easy throw, step to your target. That definitely could have been a big play. And should have been.
So now 3rd down and 10 for Nebraska. Over the middle, Westerkamp is there. Down to the 20-yard line. 33 yards. Damian Parms on the stop. But you can see a real chemistry between Tommy Armstrong and his roommate Jordan Westerkamp.
Yeah, they might have had a talk here before the game about getting the ball to Westerkamp, but Westerkamp staying on his route, doing a nice job keeping this with the speed, and Tommy Armstrong just putting in a nice pass. That backer came out of coverage, looked like he was going to blitz initially. So good job of him threading the needle.
Armstrong on the keep, gonna block. Armstrong hurdling a man inside the 5, and Tommy Armstrong sets the Huskers up with a 1st and goal.
Definitely right now you're looking at the Tommy Armstrong show with his arms and with his legs. You see, he just gets to running right away, trying to hurdle a guy. See, sniffing that end zone right there. 3 yards, he wanted to get in, but maybe they'll give him another try. I think you're looking at possibly another quarterback draw. I'd come right back to him if I was Nebraska.
From the 3-yard line, first down and goal. Cross the I back in the I formation. He has the carry. Imani Cross powering to the goal line, and he's in for the touchdown.
Well, you got Imani Cross in the backfield. Little off tackle run right here. The offensive line is doing their job. And then Imani Cross just fighting there for those last couple inches to get the ball over the goal line. Again, give credit to Nebraska's offensive line for staying tenacious and staying on their blocks.
Extra point from Drew Brown is good. And the Huskers with 2.5 to play in the first half. In control here in Lincoln with a 31-7 lead over the Owls of Florida Atlantic. And Imani Cross averages a touchdown, Eric, every 8.2 attempts in his career. So far in 2014, he averages a touchdown every 2 attempts because he's got 1 out of his 2 carries today. And Imani Cross, who scored 10 touchdowns on the ground a year ago, has got his first of 2014.
Well, it's got to feel good. I mean, Imani Cross is going to be a big part of this offense as the season progresses. I mean, most of those carries are going to go to Amir, but when you get on the goal line, you got a big guy, and Amir's done the work that he's done so far in this game. Imani Cross deserves that ball right there.
Be sure to stay tuned at the half for the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. Dave Refson, Jerry DiNardo, and Howard Griffith break down all the action from around this season opening weekend in the Big Ten. Huskers on the ground, taking a little drama out of this one. Nearly 400 yards of total offense in the first half for Nebraska. 249 on the ground. Taken by Lucky Whitehead for the touchback for Florida Atlantic. You knew Nebraska had the chance to be pretty potent in that backfield with Amir Abdullah, with Imani Cross, Terrell Newby. Running backs coming back this year for the Huskers had 2,459 yards combined between all the running backs. Third most in college football. Army and Alabama were the only ones who had more. And they're picking up right where they left off with that ground game at high efficiency early.
Well, Tim Beck said it, you know, there's no doubt about it. We're going to run this football. And I think when you have players like that, with that type of experience, especially in the first game, you've got to give them the football.
Greg Hankerson still in at quarterback for Florida Atlantic. He came in for Jaquez Johnson. Airing it down the sideline, and the pass incomplete. Mitchell out there on the coverage. One-on-one locked up with Moyse. And there is Jaquez Johnson. You talked about the shoulder coming down awkwardly on that shoulder, and that is what Jaquez Johnson is dealing with right now. Flag down.
Face mask, offense number 84. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Only the second penalty today against Florida Atlantic.
You almost sense the frustration, you know, starting quarterbacks on the sideline. Greg Hankerson's in, trying to take a shot downfield, looking for the big play right now. Don't want to see him get away from the game plan too much, but when you've got a new quarterback in, you don't know what the reps were looking like during the week of practice.
First down and 22 after the penalty. Hankerson, a dart to the sideline, and it's knocked out of the hands of William Dukes. Josh Mitchell again on the coverage and did a good job, Eric, coming across the hands of William Dukes to make sure he didn't pull that one in.
Yeah, he sure did. I mean, that's a quick feed of Josh Mitchell right there. Just his closing ability once he sees the receiver break to the outside, and then his smarts about getting his hand in on the ball and ripping it away.
Hankerson. Nice cutback, then he stumbled. Had a lane after he cut around Banderas to the 18-yard line. It's a pickup of 5. And Nebraska will use a timeout here to try to preserve a little time for another offensive opportunity. No timeouts remain for the Huskers with 2:12 to go in this first half. Weeknights join the conversation on BTN Live. It's the most comprehensive nightly college football discussion for the guys who love to talk about the game. BTN Live, weeknights at 6 Eastern on BTN. Off the timeout for Florida Atlantic. Nicholson looking deep. Has a man out there, and it's incomplete. The 40-yard line, just showing briefly, was Jensen Stoshak. Corey Cooper running alongside. 4th down, and Nebraska's going to have just a little under 2 minutes to work with when they get this football back.
Yeah, great job of Nebraska's defense in this game so far. Really not giving up a huge play. You know, maybe one in the first half of that touchdown with Whitehead. But other than that, been very, very good in holding Florida Atlantic's offense to just minimal gainage.
Champ to punt. Kenny Bell at the 36 with the fair catch. And a first down for Nebraska. Huskers last season ended on a real positive note in the Gator Bowl. Of course, when you have a 99-yard touchdown pass, there's a lot to remember from that game. But Nebraska beating Georgia, and they've really seemed to carry that good feeling from that game, Eric, into the offseason and through this offseason into this opening game.
Well, I think the mindset's been just positive all the way around. Defense, offense, special teams, just the growth of this program and where Bo Pelini is at as a head coach and how he's feeling towards his team. And a lot of new faces out there, but in a lot of positive ways, they're getting better.
Armstrong to Kenny Bell. And Bell trying to spin away, but just around the ankle. Sherrod Niesman able to grab him. Huskers will hurry to the line. 8-yard pickup to Bell, 2nd and 2. No timeouts remain for Nebraska in this first half. Armstrong tipped and almost intercepted by Andre Kirk.
That's one of those plays Tommy Armstrong's just got to find that linebacker. He knows he's got an inside route. Where's the linebacker? Just find him and go away from him. Go to the next progression.
Third down and 2, 1:35 remaining in this first half. Armstrong on the keep. Flag is down, and so is Tommy Armstrong, short of the first down. It's going to be a hold against Nebraska.
Holding. Offense number 68. Penalties declined. Result of play is 4th down.
Jake Cotton called for the hold. Penalty declined. Now 4th down and 2 at the 44. Crowd trying to coax Bo Pelini to go for it. Bo Pelini is not going to listen to the crowd. Sam Foltz will come on. And we'll get our first look at the day at Sam Foltz. Dijon Smith will go back to return. Owls do have 2 timeouts left and 1:07 to work with. Short punt, Smith clearing everybody out. Takes an Owl roll and is down at the 25-yard line. So decent field position for the Florida Atlantic Owls. 57 seconds to work with as we check out the schedule for Nebraska McNeese State next week. And then that road trip to Fresno State followed by the game against Miami, closing out the non-conference, Eric.
I tell you what, it's a schedule in the non-conference that you look at and you go, there's some winning teams here. 10-3, 11-2, 9-4. Not the lightest schedule at all.
And BTN will start off the conference season with the Huskers in Illinois. Michigan State on the road. That one is one that everybody's had their eyes on. Nebraska Northwestern's a primetime game on BTN.
Late in November, have them go to Wisconsin and play a tough Wisconsin team.
Wisconsin tonight against LSU. Looking forward to seeing how the Badgers do down in Houston against the Tigers. From the 25-yard line, and the pass incomplete to William Dukes with Josh Mitchell on the coverage. Second down. End of this first half has kind of sputtered along here for both of these teams.
Well, Florida Atlantic at this point just got to get their head on straight. There's still opportunity in this game. Being at the first game and you are on the road, you still got to perform. And missing opportunities to catch the ball and move this team down the field. And still a lot to prove. You're in your first game, and I'm sure there's still competitions going on between players.
Pressure up the middle, the pass incomplete. Tipped by Greg McMullen as he tried to go to the sidelines.
Well, Greg McMullen going to make it tough on any quarterback today. You don't get a piece on him. He's standing straight up. He's sure easy to bat a pass down when no one touches you. So you expect maybe one of those offensive tackles to come off and hit him a little bit and get his hands down.
Marcus Newby in for Gangwish now on third down. Redshirt freshman out of Potomac, Maryland. Third down and 10. Hankerson with a flag down to the sideline. The catch by Whitehead. No, they'll say incomplete, out of bounds. Couldn't drag the foot at the 36-yard line. The flag in the backfield would have negated it anyway. A hold's going to be called against Florida Atlantic. Nebraska will decline.
Personal foul, grasping and twisting the face mask. Offense number 58. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is a fourth down.
Like we said, grasping and twisting the face mask is going to be called, and it's going to be declined. Either way, Nebraska's getting the ball back with 45 seconds and no timeouts.
Well, I think the talk at halftime is to remain focused. You know, there is a game out here for both teams. Florida Atlantic needing to regroup a little bit at halftime, and some late penalties here in the first half really killed them.
Fair catch called for and made by Kenny Bell at the 33-yard line. And Nebraska with 38 seconds to go, no timeouts. Will they get too adventurous here, Eric, or do you expect Bo Pelini to be content with a 31-7 lead and head to the locker room?
I think they're pretty content with the 31-7 lead. Although it is a nice opportunity to run a 2-minute drill. Get your quarterback and receivers at least some game experience in doing that. Especially with a young quarterback who hasn't had those opportunities maybe in games to run 2-minute drill. And if they got some new plays in they want to see, great opportunity.
First down. Play action. Armstrong looking deep for Kenny Bell. The defender fell down, and Bell just missed it at the 12-yard line. Dijon Smith fell down, and all of a sudden Kenny Bell was running free, and the Huskers by inches missed a huge connection.
And Tommy Armstrong just put this one a little bit too far inside. Kenny Bell reaching out and diving for it. I think he had some good air on it, but maybe needed a little more.
And that's dropped at the 43-yard line by Jamal Turner. One more look at the long near catch.
Tommy Armstrong taking a pretty good hit.
But the pain of the hit, nowhere near the pain of the missed complete pass. Third down and 10 for Nebraska. Amir Abdullah. Nice cutback. Abdullah with a first down across the 45 to the 46-yard line. 20 seconds to play until halftime. And now the Huskers will hurry it up. Armstrong fakes the spike, and he throws to the sidelines for Tariq Allen, and the pass incomplete.
They want a touchdown. They're going for the end zone right now.
A little fun out there. It's Bo Pelini's got to put the headset back on. He'd taken it off. Second and 10 at the 46. It's your best indication that Nebraska was just content to go into the locker room. Coach had to find the headset again.
Also, Tommy Armstrong taking a couple hits there towards the end of this first half.
Second down and 10 at the 46. Armstrong to the sideline. Kenny Bell with the catch and out of bounds. Clock will stop with 7 seconds to play in this first half. DeJon Smith on the tackle at the Florida Atlantic 38.
Now that's a big-time throw. The late, long comeback route and keeping it to the outside. Exactly how you draw it up.
Huskers hurrying it up as Westerkamp hit down. The clock will stop with 2 seconds to go. The Huskers are going to have to hurry it up to the line and try to spike it. And the clock stops, and the clock now winds to 0, but will they put time back on the clock?
Prior to the snap, there were 2 seconds left in the half. Quarterback spiked it. By rule, there's only 1 play left. That is the end of the half.
And that's the rule that was established a year ago. That is it. So you cannot spike it under 3 seconds. And Tommy Armstrong and the Huskers will head to the locker room, leading 31-7. They tried, but they weren't able to quite cash in at the end of the first half. We'll check in with Dave, Jerry, and Howard. Our Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report is coming up in Lincoln, Nebraska, with a little bit of defense and a lot of offense. A 31-7 lead for Nebraska and Amir Abdullah in the season opener. Nebraska at halftime, leading Florida Atlantic. Kevin Kugler, Eric Crouch, Damon Benning back in Lincoln at Memorial Stadium. Halftime numbers showing Nebraska getting it done on the ground like they've done in so many season openers. Now 6 straight openers, Eric, that they've got over 229 yards on the ground.
Yeah, I like that, but this is the thing that sticks out to me right there. The turnovers, one thing that Nebraska, we put up a graphic earlier about that, about how they were worse than the Big Ten, and one way to overcome that is to have no turnovers early in the season to gain confidence, and especially running the footballs with fumbles and throwing the football with interceptions and things like that and bad decisions. It's just a good confidence builder. Good for Tim Beck and his offense to see there's no turnovers, although there are a whole second half to play here, making sure that they're doing the right things offensively. But Tommy Armstrong smiling here, looking like he's having fun, enjoying himself, and really that's what you want. That's what this experience should all be about.
Time now for the Quicken Loans quarterback comparison. We've hinted at the success that Tommy Armstrong, well, we've not only hinted, we've flat out said it. 12 for 24, 184 yards, and a touchdown for Tommy Armstrong. Jacquez Johnson, who was injured, 6 for 12 before the injury, 61 yards and a touchdown. Johnson has rushed for 19. Tommy Armstrong has rushed for 51 and a score. Florida Atlantic's going to have the football to start things off in this second half. In case you're joining us late, Randy Gregory, Nebraska's superstar defensive end, played early, left early, and did not return early in that first quarter. We saw him on the sidelines with his left knee iced up. Certainly a concern for all Nebraska fans. Nebraska does not have an update yet on Randy Gregory's status. As soon as we get one, we'll pass it along to you. Lucky Whitehead from the goal line. Whitehead dancing all over the place, and he ends up at the 21-yard line. as we check in downstairs with Damon Benning.
Guys got a chance to catch up with both coaches. Coach Pelini mainly talked about strong to the finish. He was not afraid to remind his guys of what happened in the opener a year ago in the second half that he plays. So he's interested in seeing his guys close the deal and rally to the football. He wants to see tackling improve and offense continue to ground. And then Coach Partridge, depth is a little bit of concern. He's a little disappointed his run fits. He says they're thin in the secondary, but he'll continue to sub guys in. We've seen the end of Mr. Johnson playing quarterback today. The shoulder has just been bugging him.
Yeah, not a good sign for Florida Atlantic. They really needed Jacquez Johnson to have a big day today. So it falls on the shoulders of Greg Hankerson, who on first down throws behind the intended receiver, Jensen Stoshak. David Santos on the coverage, and it's second down. Eric, as a guy who played the position for as many years as you did, when the lead guy goes down as the backup, how do you get yourself to game speed quickly?
Well, you've got to be prepared before the game starts, knowing that you're probably going to get a chance to go in. You never think about things of players getting injured. That's never, but it is the possibility. That's what the second string quarterback's always got to be in his mind, that he is one play away from being in the game. And we'll see if his week of preparation did him any good here in the second half.
Second down, pressure right up the middle. The pass deflected and almost intercepted. Josh Mitchell had a chance to grab it off the carom, nearly picked it off, and it'll bring up third down.
I think Vincent Valentine, big man coming up the middle and get right in his face, and really he's the one that started this play off right here.
With an assist to Brett Denker, the umpire, who had it carom off of his body. So Brett Denker getting himself involved in the middle of the field. Unintentionally, of course. Third down and 10 at the 21. Pocket collapsing late. McMullen on the chase, and nowhere to go for Hankerson downfield, and the Husker defense pitches a 3-and-out to start things off here in the second half. Also saw Marcus Newby out there on the field, and the youngster, when he gets out there, he's fun to watch. He just goes on a beeline to the quarterback. Not a lot of nuance for Marcus Newby right now.
No, not at all, but you can just tell right there his raw talent, his speed, his ability to get to the ball, and he's going to be a big part of this defense as this year progresses.
Fourth down and 8. Good punt, driving Kenny Bell back. It'll sail over his head. Takes a bit of a Nebraska hop across the 20-yard line. Down at the 22, and that's where Tommy Armstrong and the Huskers will start first down and 10. Ever wonder what that old piece of Big Ten memorabilia is worth? Follow expert John Arquette as he hits the road, traveling the country in search of the most exceptional Big Ten collectibles around. It's the premiere of Big Ten Treasure Hunter, September 16th on BTN. John Arquette could find some memorabilia from my two partners today. Eric Crouch, of course. That Heisman's got to be worth something.
Nah, probably not.
Damon Benning's got an Orange Bowl MVP trophy. Might be worth something, too. Here's Amir Abdullah. Going to rack up some hardware if he keeps going like this throughout the season. Another good gain of 10 yards on first down for Amir Abdullah. He's at 188 unofficially on the day.
I'll tell you what's surprising on this run is look how low he gets at the end, getting ready to deliver this hit. He gets so low and doesn't even fall down to the ground with tremendous balance by Mr. Amir Abdullah.
From the 32-yard line, first down. Bell in motion. Armstrong steps away from pressure, and the pass is incomplete. Just threw that one away as that pressure came late up the middle.
It looked like Tommy was a little bit confused there. Looked at his first read. It was covered. Good job of pulling it down, but not knowing where to go with the second read.
Tommy Armstrong Jr., a career-high passing yards today. 184 yards for Armstrong. 6 catches, 109 yards for Westerkamp. Both of those are highs. Second and 10. slipping on the cut. Amir Abdullah picks up 4 to the 36. Andre Kirk on the tackle. We called his name a lot early, Andre Kirk, and he's been quiet of late.
He sure is an aggressive player and, you know, a team captain, and he's got to be over there continuing to talk to his teammates. Keep them confident that they can try to stop Nebraska's their offense right now. And Amir Abdullah running the football all over the place.
3rd down and 6. Armstrong for Westerkamp again, and he caught it behind his back. Unbelievable. Westerkamp's a magician as he pulls it in at the 48 for the 1st down.
Wow, and to keep his feet in bounds at the same time. Unbelievable catch right there by Jordan Westerkamp.
And now they're going to look at it again. I think the replay booth just wants to watch that some more. I don't blame
I'd like
them.
to see it a few more times.
Unbelievable. Bo Pelini's not at all pleased that they're reviewing this. He wanted to tempo Florida Atlantic, but man, oh man, what a catch by Jordan Westerkamp. You can hear the reaction from the crowd. They're watching it on the big screen. They don't think they need to look at it again. Wow.
I don't think there's any type of drill that you can do in practice to be able to make this catch in a game.
That's
Just
fantastic.
good concentration. I think that's feel. That may not be concentration. That may be feeling. He felt the ball in his back.
Catch, 1st down, Nebraska.
That is just outstanding. You know, Tim Beck told us when we were chatting with him yesterday that if you throw it anywhere near Jordan Westerkamp, he is going to catch it. That catch illustrates that point perfectly. Bo with a big smile on his face.
Hey, whatever it takes to keep the drive alive, tell you what.
That's a 3rd down conversion. At the 48 of Florida Atlantic, 1st down. Newby down to 44, a 4-yard carry for Terrell Newby.
Well, we are seeing a little difference in Nebraska's offense and so many different formations and so many different plays that they had last year, and just paring it down, being a little more simplified, but doing things good. Spreading it around still, but doing them and being efficient at it.
Second and 6. Abdullah. Nice move again, and Amir Abdullah close to another 1st down. Every time you think you've seen the best cut Amir Abdullah has in him, he comes up with another one.
He certainly does, and he just steps on. He's got another gear. Give him a little head shimmy. Got a nice block outside by Kenny Bell.
What a weapon. And what a star he's become. When he was recruited, there wasn't a lot of thought. He was sort of almost an afterthought in that recruiting class. He's at 198 yards right now. Make it 200 and counting for Amir Abdullah. Shrugging off tacklers down to the 13-yard line. 25 yards more for Amir Abdullah. He has his 2nd career 200-yard game.
The offensive line getting some great push, but I like the fact that Amir doesn't hesitate. He doesn't wait for the hole to open up. He kind of makes the hole himself by his speed. And right up the field, making a quick little cut, trying to get the defender off balance.
Armstrong down to the 2. Very nice read the tackle, Eric.
Very nice read right there by Tommy Armstrong. Fooling the defense. I like how he rides the ball with him in the hip pocket. Pulls it quickly, knew that the read was coming to the running back. Saw Amir get taken down, but tremendous job, tremendous read by the young quarterback.
And an injured Owl, that's Dijon Smith, who came in to make that stop at the end of the play. .47 to go in the 3rd. Nebraska knocking on the door once more thanks to the ground game between Amir Abdullah and Tommy Armstrong. And, of course, the catch by Jordan Westerkamp that, regardless of what happens in this game, will be the highlight of this game.
It was almost like he caught that ball and he knew he caught it and was going to catch it. The confidence in the young man's hands.
Armstrong for Westerkamp, and it's batted away at the last moment. Christian Milstead knocked it away. We had a premature firework here at Memorial Stadium.
I do like the call here. Tommy Armstrong just changing the play at the line of scrimmage, looking for opportunity to score a touchdown. Saw all the guys in the box, saw Westerkamp with a one-on-one opportunity outside. Put the ball, perfect placement. Pretty darn good defense there by the Owls.
The boom you heard notwithstanding, no touchdown, 2nd and goal. Here's Newby looking for the end zone. Newby's got the touchdown.
Get all your running backs involved here that are back from the previous year. Play designed to go outside, and Newby just took advantage of the defenders coming in and outflanked them. Outran him to the corner of the end zone.
Extra point try. And good again for Drew Brown. 38-7 Nebraska. The touchdown, though, doesn't happen without one of the best catches you'll see all college football season. Jordan Westerkamp pulling that one from behind his back. Bo was happy about it, and it led to this score from Terrell Newby. Huskers up big in Lincoln. Nebraska 38, Florida Atlantic 7, 10-18 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Today, Jordan Westerkamp, our John Deere Gator game-changing performance. 7 catches, 125 yards, degree of difficulty 10.0 on that catch to keep the drive alive a moment ago that led into a touchdown for Nebraska. Jordan Westerkamp, career-high catches, career-high yards, and of course, he's used to drama. That one didn't quite have the stakes, though, of his catch a year ago, as we jump into the Wayback Machine in a moment and get a chance to think back to that Hail Mary from a year ago. Of course, won the game for Nebraska over Northwestern. Quite the stakes on that sideline catch. And Whitehead with some room to run. Whitehead fighting forward across the 40-yard line. Jonathan Rose on the tackle, and why I mentioned that play, just in the miraculous way that television works, here it is. From a year ago, Ron Kellogg heaving it to the end zone. Westerkamp with the catch that wins it for the Huskers over Northwestern. Which one, Eric Crouch, is a more higher degree of difficulty? That one or the one today, tiptoeing on the sidelines, catching it behind the back?
Well, difficulty behind the back for sure, but stakes. Worthy stakes, yes. Definitely the Hail Mary catch.
Hankerson starts this drive having thrown 8 straight incompletions. This is his first completion in a long time and nowhere to go at all. Daniel Davey closing quickly on Lucky Whitehead.
That's just Daniel Davey being physical. Taking on a block, getting off the block, and then making the tackle. Very nice play right there by Davey, making a statement. That's exactly what Bo likes right here. Physical play from the secondary.
Won that starting corner job over Jonathan Rose in a battle throughout camp. Showing some physical play on that one. 2nd and 9 at the 41. Hankerson under some pressure. In trouble. And he's sacked. Kevin Maurice was the first first to get there. Greg McMullen there as well. And the rest of the black shirts swarming afterwards.
Florida Atlantic's line here. Just giving up a little bit too early. Got to keep your quarterback protected. He's scrambling around back there. Defensive line being physical. Playing with a lot of energy today.
3rd down and 18 at the 32. Little misdirection with Warren. Nebraska's not fooled. A pickup of 2. David Santos on the stop. And Damon Benning, I know you've been keeping your eye on this defense all day long.
Yeah, there's constant coaching going on regardless of score. A prime example was 2 plays ago. Nebraska misaligned against trips, that very same formation the first drive. Way back in the first quarter, you saw the answer. The corner comes over. They bring backside pressure from Cooper. There's no escape holes, and they're +1 to the 3 receiver side. Chalk one up for Nebraska's coaching staff there.
The game's all about adjustments. Both coordinators telling us yesterday that they like their plan, but it has the flexibility to adjust quickly. They're able to do that as the punt goes through the end zone for the touchback. Nebraska with 7:51 to play in the 3rd with a 38-7 lead. Tonight, the 12th-ranked Gophers host Louisville in a volleyball clash. Coverage starts at 8 Eastern tonight, presented by Tachikara on BTN and BTN to go. Kevin Kugler, Eric Crouch, Damon Benning from Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, where the Huskers have a 38-7 lead. Tommy Armstrong back in there. Amir Abdullah as well. And Amir Abdullah with a new career high on the ground as he takes it to the 29-yard line. He gets 9 yards. And Amir Abdullah with 232 yards rushing. That's the best day number 8 has ever had at Nebraska.
Yeah, it's just amazing what he's able to accomplish and do for this football team. And I don't know if he's checked out for the game there or just needs a little bit of a break, but a guy that you really almost want to start mentioning in the Heisman race.
You just did.
That's right.
Armstrong looking deep for Kenny Bell. Bell is there. Got it at the 20. Kenny Bell inside the 10. 1st and goal, Nebraska.
Definitely not done wanting that end zone. Tommy Armstrong just winding up, throwing it out there, letting Kenny Bell use his speed to get to the ball. Great concentration. Kind of cradled that ball in there at the end.
63 yards. Armstrong to Bell. And now 1st and goal, Huskers. Armstrong to the end zone. Touchdown, Nebraska. DeMornay Pearson L. His first catch, and the true freshman gets 6 more.
Why not go to the air again? Great read by Tommy Armstrong. Great route by DeMornay, just giving himself separation, making it an easy throw for Tommy Armstrong.
Extra point by Drew Brown. It's good. 6:41 to go in the 3rd. Nebraska pouring it on, leading 45-7. Day filled with Nebraska highlights and still plenty of football to play. 6 minutes, 41 seconds to go in the 3rd, and the Huskers have a 45-7 lead over the Owls of Florida Atlantic.
They're pretty happy about the performance so far. spreading this ball around and connecting on the deep passes, getting some big plays offensively. It's exactly what Tommy Armstrong imagined this game would probably be like.
3 yards deep and nowhere for Lucky Whitehead to go. He'll take the knee, and Florida Atlantic will take the touchback. And Charlie Partridge, in his first year at FAU, former assistant at Arkansas, former assistant at Wisconsin. He was with Brett Bielema at both stops. And Coach Partridge is trying to build on some of the positives that this Florida Atlantic squad had towards the end of the year. They finished on a 4-game winning streak to get bowl eligible and end up at 6-6 on the season. And new staff in here trying to keep the good things going, and they knew it was going to be a tough start to the season. Anytime you have to travel to Nebraska and to Alabama, it's a tough road to hoe. Greg Hankerson back out there at quarterback. Hankerson looking deep himself. Got a man out there, and it's incomplete. Looking for William Dukes. Jonathan Rose on the coverage, and Dukes has been a first down guy. Last year he averaged, Eric, 22 yards per catch on first down, and they were trying to get another big play on first down to the senior from Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, and he actually got a step right there on Jonathan Rose. Just didn't get a very accurate pass from Hankerson.
2nd down and 10 at the 25. Is the day done for Tommy Armstrong, or will we see him back out there for one more series? Riker Fife, the backup, had a very strong fall moving into that number 2 spot. Incomplete on the sidelines. Mitchell out there on the coverage, and it'll bring up a 3rd down. What a day he's had. 15 of 29, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's rushed for 62 yards and a touchdown. He's tied career highs for attempts and completions. Kenny Bell, 4 catches, 116 yards. Both he and Westerkamp over 100 yards. Bell's now 3rd in Nebraska history with 137 catches, and the 3rd player in Nebraska history with over 2,000 career receiving yards. All kinds of numbers and movement in the record book today for Nebraska. Open down the sideline and dropped by Derek Moyse. Hankerson lobbed it up there. Moyse was there, and Bo Pelini, despite being up 45-7, not happy with the fact that Moyse was running free.
Not at all. And there's been some opportunity here on this drive, and Florida Atlantic's offense just not able to capitalize. The ball was right there and just not focusing on going up and getting it. Waited for that ball to get to him, and as a receiver, you'd like to see a guy reach his hands up and just snatch that ball and take control. Not waiting on it.
Coach Pelini was not happy. He believed there was some extracurricular activity that allowed that receiver to get as open as he was. At the 30-yard line, and DeMornay Pearsonell has no advance from there. 6:18 remaining here in the 3rd. Amir Abdullah and the Huskers rolling in Lincoln. Nebraska with a 45-7 lead. Campus at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln on a beautiful day to start off the 2014 college football season. Nebraska fans very much enjoying what they've seen from their Huskers so far today, and the day may be done. It looks like it is for Tommy Armstrong, as Nebraska native and sophomore Riker Fife taking over at quarterback. Terrell Newby on the first down carry from the 30 to the 37-yard line. Grant Helm on the tackle as we go to Chicago for a studio update.
Okay, thanks a lot, Kevin, as we check in on Maryland, making its Big Ten debut and looking very good. C.J. Brown has run for a few scores. In stride there to Dion Long, back from the broken leg last year. 38-0 Terrapins over James Madison.
Nice debut for both new schools, Dave, in this first weekend of college football. Rutgers, of course, going out to take on Washington State. Got a big win there, and Maryland rolling today. And it's a good look at Riker Fife, the 6'2 sophomore from Grand Island. I know you got a chance to watch him a little bit over the years, Eric. What do you like about Riker?
Well, I like that he's a good decision maker. He's got a really nice arm, too, and throws a great football, and can actually run as well. So another quarterback that Nebraska has in the system here that it can operate as a dual threat and run this offense.
On first down, Speaking of that running, going to get a chance to see it right here. Riker Fife upended in Florida Atlantic territory after a 15-yard run at the 45. Reggie Brown on the tackle, and give Trey Foster a little credit too, Eric, with a nice block out front.
Absolutely. Blocking is important, and Trey Foster doing a great job. And another great decision here by the quarterback. He had an opportunity to maybe throw that ball. He kind of lifted it up like he was going to throw it and decided to do the smart thing and just pick up the extra yards.
David Lozandier, the senior, who began his Florida Atlantic career as a defensive back, now playing linebacker. He'll be helped to the sidelines. He's a speed guy. And that's a guy they want to see back out there healthy. For those wondering, there's not been an update yet, and there probably won't be at this point till post-game, in the condition of Randy Gregory, the other number 4 on the Husker side, who went out early in the first quarter with what looked like at least a sore knee. We won't speculate to the injury. He was up, standing on the sideline with a bag of ice on the knee, so hopefully nothing serious. First down and 10. The carry for Imani Cross. Picks up 4 to the 41. Shalom Agbanda on the tackle. Bo Pelini and the Huskers feeling pretty good about their 29th straight season opening win at this point. Still a little ways to go here in the third quarter, but 45-7 Nebraska.
Number 4 smiling on the sideline. He's done his work for the day, and Riker Fife gets an opportunity to get some reps as a backup quarterback. Because here at Nebraska, running the football in this type of system, they need 2 guys.
Nice run by Riker Fife there to the 29-yard line. 12-yard run. Andre Kirk along with Anthony Hamilton on the tackle. Bo Pelini trying to cool off, but the Huskers on opening day have usually been red hot. 40-plus points in 21 of their last 29 openers. Over 600 yards total offense today for Nebraska. Fife. That's incomplete. Wanted his tight end Trey Foster. Second down and 10. There's a wealth of weapons for Tim Beck and the offense to work with for Nebraska this year. We've seen Kenny Bell, obviously Jordan Westerkamp off to a tremendous start in 2014. They like their tight ends, and oh yeah, Amir Abdul. Not to mention the run game from the quarterback spot as well. Second and 10. Riker Fife lunging ahead for a yard to the 28. The offensive line was one of the things that everybody was anxious to see. Coaches wanted to see him. Fans wanted to see him. How would you grade out the offensive line so far today, Eric?
I think they've done an A+, making big holes for the running backs. All 3 of them that had an opportunity to run, even both quarterbacks playing together in a game for the first time. A lot of new faces. Really, they're stout in the middle at center and guards, but
First time out of the half, Florida Atlantic. 30-second timeout.
Always wanted to talk things over on the defensive side before this third down and 9. 3:17 to go in the third. Nebraska 45, Florida Atlantic 7. Later tonight, the final drive brings you all the highlights from this game and the entire day in the Big Ten. The final drive tonight at midnight on BTN. 3:17 to go in the third. Fife off the hands of DeMornay Pearsonell and incomplete. If he's able to pull it in, and the freshman couldn't. But there was room for the first down yardage on 3rd and 9. 4th down now for Nebraska.
Definitely the right place to go with the ball, but again, in those short passes, take a little bit off. Take a little bit off. Make it a catchable ball for the receiver.
We saw a 44-yard field goal earlier for Drew Brown in his debut as a Husker. Now we're going to get a chance to see Mauro Bondi try one from 45. Bondi with the distance and the accuracy. And Nebraska's had 2 long field goals go through today. And Bondi adds to the lead for Nebraska. And a big smile on the face of Bo Pelini. 40-7 Nebraska as we watch it once more.
You got to be happy when you have 2 place kickers that have already nailed deep field goals. Feel pretty good about that situation. Some teams don't even have 1 guy that can do it.
Pretty relaxed sideline. Kenny Bell and Bo Pelini going back and forth as the new divisions stack up like this as we aim towards Big Ten play. Just a couple of weeks before Penn State and Rutgers officially kick off conference play here on BTN. Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, Northwestern, Purdue, and Wisconsin in the West.
And I understand it a lot better like this.
Do you? Yeah, West and East. Yes. Legends and leaders. May you rest in peace.
Goodbye.
West, goodbye. Nebraska hoping to be a factor in the West, and at least from what we've seen from this offense, the offense will give them a fighting chance. 646 yards, and the defense has done its job as well. Florida Atlantic only 123 yards of total offense today.
It's amazing, this offense, what it's capable of. Just the yardage. I mean, it doesn't really feel like 600 yards have been gained today, but they have. They found a way to do it. Hit the big plays, and that's what this offense with Tim Beck is really designed to do.
Whitehead going to take the knee and settle back in for another touchback. Huskers have been putting it into the end zone with regularity today. It's amazing the game plan for Nebraska's defense, considering John Papuchis has had a busy week. He and his wife welcoming a new member of the family this week. Riley was born this week, the 4th Papuchis child to the family. Congratulations to John and Billy for another addition to the family, and still able to dial up the game plan despite limited sleep.
I would have thought he would have dressed her in some red onesie.
Boy, critical of the clothing.
No,
minutes after born.
Hasn't lived in Nebraska long enough.
Eric Crouch is a tough guy. Man. And that was Eric Crouch's criticism to the Papuchis family.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Look him up. Almost intercepted. Trevor Roach, the senior who missed all of last year due to an injury, nearly had a pick 6.
Trevor Roach just sitting back there, all in the eyes of the quarterback. If you are eyeing your receiver down, you're going to be giving it away.
Second down and 10 at the 25. Little confusion. Nowhere to go. Roach is there. Makes first contact. Kevin Maurice to finish it off. And a pickup of a couple out to the 28-yard line. 3rd and 7 coming up. And Eric, Florida Atlantic, Damon talked earlier about the adjustments on the defensive side for Nebraska. First drive, Florida Atlantic had 75 yards. 51 yards since for Florida Atlantic.
I mean, Nebraska's defensive line has been doing a great job with this game. The secondary has been tackling well, not allowing big plays.
A.J. Natter in now at one defensive end spot for the Huskers, who bring Corey Cooper up towards the line and send him on a blitz. Pressure coming, and Roach drilling Greg Hankerson as he threw. The pass incomplete, and it's 4th down. Huskers brought pressure and got it there and forced Hankerson to get rid of it, and he paid the price as well.
Trevor Roach just coming right through here with a lot of speed and a direct line, and Hankerson not able to step into that throw and just gets rid of the football and kind of shields himself from taking a big blow.
Shump. DeMornay Pearsonell stalking this punt from the 13. DeMornay Pearsonell, nice return out near the 29-yard line. And Damon Benning is down on the sidelines with a bird's eye view of all of this action. And Damon, special teams for Nebraska, one of the real emphasis to clean up coming into the season.
Yeah, the two bugaboos going into 2014 were turnovers and special teams. Turnovers, they've got a goose egg on the board. And right now, with the field goals, the kickoffs, and the touchbacks, a positive there. That's one of the first good returns we've seen as well. And Nebraska understands full well, and Coach Blaine in particular. He said he spent the majority of the spring and the first 10 days of fall camp trying guys out and doing drill work for the various special teams. It is serious if he wants to make a run at Indy.
A couple of good kicks from Bondi and Brown from 40-plus yards for points today as well on the special teams, as the 3-yard gain up the middle makes it 2nd and 7 for Nebraska. Huskers have usually had solid, if not spectacular, kicking prowess. There was a question, a battle all through camp between Mauro Bondi and Drew Brown that Bo Pelini admitted he was giving Drew Brown the nod early, more of a gut feel than anything else. There's Jamal Turner with his first opportunity of the day, and he makes the catch out to the 41-yard line. Raekwon Williams on the tackle. And when we talk, Eric, about all of the weapons, didn't even get the chance to mention Jamal Turner, who battled a leg injury last year, but according to Tim Beck, is feeling re-energized because they're moving him all over the place this year.
Yeah, he's happy. I mean, he's excited to be part of this offense and move to the outside and get an opportunity to catch more down the field passes. And you know, it's kind of funny. I had a chance to visit with him.
As Terrell Newby breaks a couple of tackles, and Newby with a cutback still on his feet inside the 15, and Terrell Newby out of bounds there. Reggie Brown able to save the tackle. They'll mark him out officially at the 16-yard line, and Terrell Newby with a terrific run.
Well, again, here's an added guy to the offense, and Newby is a great player as far as having speed, breaking tackles, just getting down the sideline. May want to think about the only thing I can really be critical here is just getting the ball to the outside arm in case someone comes in and rakes it away. So, you know, another weapon on their offense, that's for sure.
43 yards on that run for Newby. Newby again on the ground, and Newby stumbling and fighting his way down near the 6-yard line. 9.5 more for Terrell Newby. Tim Beck, watching from above, has to be pleased with what he has seen from his offense, and an offense that has put up over 700 total yards.
Wow, incredible. I got to say, I didn't think 700 yards were going to come out today.
It is the 10th time in Nebraska history with 700 yards or more. And it's the first time in the Bo Pelini era that an offense has hit the 700-yard mark. Last time it happened, Kansas State, November 2007. Huskers over 700 yards, 48 points. And Nebraska opening the season with a roar in Lincoln. To the roars of Husker fans. They lead through 3, 48-7. Kenny Bell and the rest of the starters enjoying a little time and a little dancing. Yeah.
Feeling the rhythm.
Huskers have a lot to feel good about. They've been in rhythm today. 15 minutes to play, leading 48-7 and looking for more. And on the first play of this fourth quarter, stacked up short, Terrell Newby just about 1.5 yards away from the goal line. First down and goal for the Huskers. Riker Fife on in relief of Tommy Armstrong. Newby again with the carry, and Terrell Newby is going to be down just short of the end zone. One official started to signal touchdown, and then the official came running in from the side and marked it short.
No, hard to see there.
Second down and inches. There's the knee right there. Hard to tell. So on second down, Newby short again. Lost about 1/2 yard. Penetration from Robert Relf, the sophomore from Phoenix. And now third down. Huskers trying to bring in a little extra size along the line as Greg Hart comes jogging in. Third down. Newby cuts it back and walks it in for 6. 54 points on the board for Nebraska, the highest scoring opener for the Huskers under Bo Pelini.
Terrell Newby right here, just showing speed to the outside, and then kind of has to feel that cutback with an over-pursuing defense and linebackers. Great vision right there by number 34, Terrell Newby.
And the kick is good. 4 different Nebraska players have scored a rushing touchdown. Last time that happened, September 4th, 2010. Huskers rolled 55-7 over the Owls. 13:20 remaining in the fourth quarter. Nebraska 55, Florida Atlantic 7. Huskers getting ready to kick off to the Owls, who have seen this one snowball on them very quickly in the offense of Nebraska. A big reason why. 717 total yards for the Huskers today. One of the top 10 offensive performances in Nebraska football history, in the first 700-yard game since 2007. And a kickoff through the end zone for the touchback. Time now for Duluth Trading's hardest working player of the game, and about a guy who worked his way to a career high in yardage. Eric Crouch, Amir Abdullah seems like a pretty obvious choice.
He sure does, and you just got to love his style of play, and not only what he has physically on the football field, but what he does for this team as a leader. He brings them up. Anytime that they're in a situation that could be very difficult, adversity strikes, you give number 8 the ball, and he does something special. And it's one of those things, you have a guy like that on your football team, what he does for your program, and you see putting Nebraska in a great position this year.
Passed Ken Clark today, as well as Calvin Jones, for 6th place on the all-time Nebraska rushing list. First down, upended.
Carry by number 25, Jake Warren.
Daniel Davey with the tackle. We'll bring up second down. Hankerson in relief of Jacquez Johnson, who was injured, making a tackle. Zaire Anderson earlier. 55-7 Huskers with the lead. For a little running room, Warren's got the first down. Nathan Gary on the tackle. 12:36 remaining here in the fourth, and a first down for the Owls, who have had little success moving this one for most of the day. And we've talked a lot about the offense, Eric, but that defense has to be discussed a little bit as well. You lose Randy Gregory very early in this game. He did not return, but Nebraska's still been able to get the job done on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, they sure have, and that's been discipline and I think confidence. And Bo stated already that he already feels like they're way ahead of where they were at this time last year and even at the end of last year.
And Damon Benning, you talked early in the game about the adjustments Nebraska's defense was making. We showed the numbers between the first drive and the rest of the game. As you watch it from down on the field, what stands out most for you about the way this defense is playing?
Well, I think it's been the guys in the trenches. The bigs have played really well. I mean, Kevin Williams is now playing Natter. Nebraska's depth is simply wearing down Florida Atlantic. And then take a look at all the little intricacies in Nebraska's secondary. Playing the young bucks, they've got a chance to take a look at a lot of guys while not really dropping off in terms of play. And you guys remember the buzzword in our coaches meetings yesterday. It was the communication. That's what he wanted to see improve. And it looks like they might be on their way.
Well, this is a great test for that communication, getting the chance to communicate with fans in the stands, the atmosphere of the game. Daniel Davey on the tackle, Derek Boyce there, but another first down for Florida Atlantic. And Eric, communication's such a key on both sides of the ball, and that was the thing that everybody was talking about yesterday. And Bo Pelini especially was stressing that communication as the way his defense, and really the only way his defense was going to continue to improve all year long, was with that consistent communication.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think what he's also mentioned is in that communication is that there's a business-like approach, and I think that means that they're students of the game. They really dive into the playbooks. When it's not football time, they show up in the meeting rooms early. They come and watch film. They do the extra things to be great. And I think that Bo Pelini knows that. He talked about the success of this defense, and that's really predicated on how much these guys take away from the game and learn on their own.
Courtney Love on the tackle there. Another one of those youngsters that Damon mentioned getting a chance to see some playing time. The redshirt freshman out of Youngstown, Ohio. Same high school as Bo Pelini, Cardinal Mooney High School. Second down and 11. 55-7 Nebraska. Little hole on the outside for Warren. He fumbles the football. Nebraska trying to keep it in play, and it goes out of bounds. Kyron Williams had a chance, and he knows it. Look at that. The freshman playing in his first ever game as a Husker had a chance to fall on that one and get the ball back, and he couldn't pull it in.
Well, you know, he wishes he had that one back, and being young, and you know, he just thought maybe I'm gonna get 6 right here. What he needs to do is just get possession of that football, take a knee, get his offense the ball back.
Nathan Gary able to come in and punch it out. Nebraska not able to get possession. 3rd down and 3. Ankerson goes short, has the first down. The tackle by Josh Kalu at the 22-yard line, and that'll be 12 yards gained and a first down. Damon, one other thing that Bo Pelini talked about wanting to see was eye discipline. I don't know if you can see eye discipline from your angle, Damon Benning, but can you tell that it's better today?
Well, I think the key indicator is what they do with all the motion and shifts that Florida Atlantic was doing. Nebraska's a site-based defense, and as long as you see them in position when the ball is snapped, the eye discipline has got to be pretty good. I know they fell asleep a little on the wheel route that was underthrown, and the little slip screen where they got a little greedy. But outside of that, I think they're on the come with regards to that.
First down. Nothing doing on the option run. Jack Ganguish on the tackle. And we've called Jack Ganguish's name a lot. He has had to be pressed into duty, Eric, with Randy Gregory's injury. Hadn't seen action in any game prior to today, but he's been on the field a ton, following in the footsteps of his dad, Paul, who was a letterman as a walk-on here in the 80s.
Well, when you're asked to go in the game and play, you never know when it's going to be, and especially you got a player like Randy Gregory ahead of you. You're learning a lot, and what an opportunity to come in the game and make some plays and kind of make your presence known, because you really you never know what the injury is to Randy.
Up the middle, Warren breaking a couple of tackles. Ty Warren showing some good tough running. Down to the 13-yard line, Kyron Williams with the tackle. We've seen a little bit of this from Jay Warren breaking the tackle there of Kevin Williams. And a flag is down.
False start. Offense number 41.
Kind of get out of control on you, so those leaders have to step up and say things to the team and keep their heads focused, and they definitely did that.
After the penalty, 3rd and 6. Michael Harrop in motion. And a timeout is taken by Charlie Partridge and the Florida Atlantic coaching staff. 7:29 to go in the 4th. 3rd and 6 for Florida Atlantic when you return to Lincoln.
BTN is brought to you by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today.
Always fun to watch Memorial Stadium fill up. I tell you this is real time, but I don't think you'd believe me. This is faster. It's time lapse. It's not. They all didn't run in. They're eager.
They rush in around here.
I mean, they're eager to get here. It's the season opener, but not quite that fast. 3rd down and 6. 334th consecutive sellout crowd enjoying what they've seen so far. Hankerson on 3rd and 6, looking for yardage for the first. He's not going to get there to the 14-yard line. And that's going to leave Florida Atlantic 2 yards short of the first. Zaire Anderson in there to make the stop. You're hearing a few names of starters still out there on the field at this point, despite a 55-7 lead the fourth. Santos back out on the field right now, along with Courtney Love. Sort of a mix between the youngsters and some veterans. Although there's a lot of this defense that's just flat out young, even if they're veteran.
Right, exactly. I think when they started the game, it was like that. Just a big mixture of younger guys and seniors.
Warren trying to find running room. None there. And Nebraska's defense stymies Florida Atlantic in the red zone. Nathan Gary on the tackle. And a turnover on downs back to Nebraska.
Well, Nathan Gary is no stranger to tackling, playing outside linebacker last year and then moving to safety this year. And definitely comes up and makes a big, big stop for them.
Great surge up front, Eric.
Sure was, and that defensive line playing strong, and Gary just getting back there and knowing where the ball's at.
Terrell Newby going to reverse his field and not going to get much. 3 yards before Brandon Bryant, the Omaha native, able to drive him back. We've not seen a whole lot of Brandon involved in too many plays today, but Bryant able to come in and make the tackle there.
That's true. I think the mix-up offensively that Nebraska's had today, going deep, taking their shots, getting the ball to the outside, some quick screens, quarterback in the running game, Amir Abdullah in the running game. All 3 running backs were really part of this running game today. 700-plus yards.
Not a bad start.
Not at all.
And more on the ground for Newby. Newby across the 35 to the 37-yard line. 19 more for Terrell Newby. And Terrell Newby over 100 yards on the day.
Again, the quick step. Nice read right there by Riker Fife. And then Newby just cutting up the field. And, you know, the Florida Atlantic defense is just not in the right place today.
It's a career high for Newby. He had 76 in the opener against Wyoming last year. And Terrell Newby's at 105 before the carry to the 39-yard line. So Terrell Newby getting it done today. 2 backs over 100. Amir Abdullah at 232. And 459 yards on the ground for Nebraska. Impressive.
Very, very impressive. And, you know, I think they're pretty much making their name for themselves as a running team. And I know it's the first game of the year, but it's exactly what they wanted to do.
Riker Fife on the keep. And Fife tripped up at the 40-yard line, a pickup of 1. Running back in on that play was Jordan Nelson. First time we've seen Nelson in the backfield. 3rd down and 7 from the 40-yard line for Nebraska and Riker Fife. Fife incomplete. Riker Fife on that roll trying to find Kevin Gladney. And 4th down, time to punt it away.
Being young, being in the game for the first time, and rolling out to the right side there, had his receiver, went to the right read. Just has to take a little bit off.
Lucky Whitehead awaiting the punt from Nebraska's Sam Foltz. Good hang time for Foltz. Whitehead will have to call for the fair catch, and he makes it at the 20-yard line. Timeout on the field, 4:26 remaining. Nebraska and Amir Abdullah cruising to their first win. 55-7. 22nd ranked Nebraska with the lead. 4:26 to play in the fourth quarter. Kevin Kugler, Eric Crouch, Damon Benning with you from Lincoln. Greg Hankerson and Florida Atlantic back to work offensively. It'll get any easier for the Owls next week as they go on the road to Alabama. Not much running room there. Logan Rath in on the stop as we remind you this is another season opening victory for Nebraska. This would be 29 straight. Their highest score since 1998. That was an up and down day against Louisiana Tech. Highest point differential since 1993. So in a lot of areas, individual and team, this is one for the record books for the Huskers. Second down and 10. Tony Moore to the 24-yard line. Couple for DJ Singleton in there on the stop. Also out there on the tackle for Nebraska, Austin Williams.
Well, an opportunity to build depth right here for that Nebraska defense. Got a lot of young guys out there, and building depth's important. Don't want to give up the big play, though.
Laid handoff, trying to get to the outside is Henry Bussey, and Bussey is going to be just short of the first down. At the beginning of the game, we talked keys to the game. Defensive line, control the game. See the average yards per play. Nebraska seems to have accomplished that, Eric.
I'd say so. Controlling this game right now, definitely the defensive line did a great job. You've got guys like Vincent Ballantyne and Greg Mullen. I mean, they're missing Randy Gregory, one of their better pass rushers and players up front, and I think Bo's happy about that. I mean, he's excited. This is exactly where they wanted to be, and switch the offense. I mean, I don't think they ever got out of rhythm. They had the rhythm early, overcame a few penalties, and then right away were never able to get out of rhythm at all, and that's exactly what they needed to do to be successful and start Tommy Armstrong off with his first start as the starter.
Punt was touched well before the roll, and so Nebraska with decent field position to start. After the game, the State Farm postgame show brings you all the highlights from this game and around the entire Big Ten. The State Farm postgame show immediately following the game on BTN. Fans celebrating a beautiful day and a great opener here for their team. 55-7. And now in at quarterback, the third Husker quarterback, Johnny Stanton, the redshirt freshman out of California, comes on for the first time today. Making his Husker debut in the 2014 opener. Trying to find some room to roam is Graham Nabity. Nabity picks up 4. A lot of youngsters out there. Is Johnny Stanton. A lot of expectation for that guy as he moves on in his career.
Yeah, absolutely. And another one of these quarterbacks that Nebraska has that really is dual threat. Can run this offense, throw the ball effectively, and run it effectively.
We have an effective run. Trying to find a little room to the inside is Harrison Jordan. And that's a first down. Or rather, that's Nelson with the carry. Excuse me, Jordan Nelson on the carry for Nebraska. And a first down. Droopy is happy the way the Huskers have played today.
We talked about building off defensive depth, and this is what the quarterback position at Nebraska usually has, some depth to it.
Nelson trying to do a little dance down the sideline, out of bounds at the 48, gets 4. Coach Pelini's going to have a lot of positives to talk about with his team after this opener, 55-7 lead over Florida Atlantic. Nelson again down to the Florida Atlantic 46. That'll be a first down. Jordan Nelson with 19 yards on the day. After the game, joined Dave Revson, Jerry DiNardo, and Howard Griffith for all the highlights and analysis from around the Big Ten. It's the State Farm postgame show immediately following the game on BTN. Nelson once more. behind the block of DeMornay Pearsonell. And he takes it to the 38-yard line. 8-yard gain for Nelson. Now Nebraska will tackle McNeese State to follow before they hit the road for the first time. Fresno State on the road, then Miami at home before Illinois opens conference season the last weekend of September on BTN.
Nelson on the carry.
First down again. Nelson gets the first, and that may be the final play from scrimmage for Nebraska. Bo Pelini's got the headset off. They're going to take one more snap here. Stand to the air. DeMornay Pearsonell with the catch. And DeMornay Pearsonell down to the 27-yard line, a gain of 6. And that is going to close out Bo Pelini's 59th win as Husker head coach. He now breaks the tie with Frank Solich and moves into third all-time in coaching wins behind the great Tom Osborne and the legendary Bob Devaney. So Nebraska gets the victory today, 55-7. That's going to do it from Lincoln. Huskers are 1-0, 55-7 winners over Florida Atlantic. For Eric Crouch and David Benning, I'm Kevin Kugler saying so long from Lincoln, Nebraska. Right now, let's get it back to our BTN studios and join Dave Repson, Jerry DiNardo, and Howard Griffith for the State Farm postgame show. So long from Lincoln.